Alright, so as many of you know, over the last week, I've been covering a lot of Gym League on the channel, but behind the scenes, I've sort of been playing a game called Tycoon RNG. Now, it's no secret that RNG games are sort of like the trend right now on Roblox. We've got ourselves, obviously, Souls RNG, which is a really popular one. Then there's a bunch of other kind of like little small random ones that have usually about 2,000 to 3,000 players. Dungeon RNG, Admin RNG, Character RNG. There's a bunch of different variations, but for the most part, every single one of them are more or less the same. And dude, somebody just did an assortment drop. Anything good by any chance? Your boy really needs a Nebula, which honestly, if you've never played this game before, you're probably completely clueless as to what I'm talking about, but don't worry about it. We're going to explain all that stuff in today's video because I do want to go ahead and kind of make a quick little introductory for you guys in case maybe you're just a regular on my channel that watches all my videos and you have not tried this game out. Anyways, the idea for these RNG games is extremely simple. You basically stand around and randomly roll to get a higher rarity item. So it'll be like a 1 in 1 million or like a 1 in 100. The thing with this game that makes it completely different from all of the other ones is that everything that you get actually has a purpose. You go ahead and basically add it to your Tycoon that's behind me, which you then over time earn money that you can go ahead and use to upgrade your Tycoon by clicking on this. Oh, and we just got ourselves a roll. We got a Surge Dropper, 1 in 23k. Not bad, overclocked and golden. But like I was saying, you go ahead and click on this little platform right here, and it will give you the option to upgrade your Tycoon, or obviously upgrade your Luck Burst, and your Walk Speed with the money that you earn. Now, as I mentioned before, every single one of these pieces does a different thing. If we take a look at this machine over here, it is called an Overclocked Golden Extreme Heat. So the name of the machine is Extreme Heat, but the variant of it is a Overclocked Golden version. Underneath it, you'll see that it has upgrades. It has Add Fire. Fire destroys ores once the timer finishes. And then you sort of have like all these other random things that are just not really relevant. You don't have to pay attention to all of that stuff. Kind of like a quick little description, who built the item, as well as when I obtained it. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn off my rolls here so that way this doesn't interrupt us constantly. But like I was saying before, basically there is 3 separate categories that you can go ahead and obtain within the game. So for starters, these are the ones that are kind of like the upgraders for all of the individual ores that are traveling through the entire kind of like conveyor belt. Then at the very end of your conveyor belt, you're going to have yourself kind of like your transmitter, or it's really kind of like a bunch of different names, melter, but overall basically the end of the line item. This is a completely separate category. So again, you can roll upgraders, you can roll transmitters, as well as droppers. These are going to always be located at the very top of your Tycoon. So if we travel up here really quick, you'll notice that these are all the droppers that I currently have. If I click on one of them, it will pull up my entire drop menu, which that is not what I wanted to click on. Not gonna lie, these hitboxes are a little bit difficult to find. There we go. So again, this is a completely separate inventory with all of the droppers only being listed in here. But the idea for these is exactly the same as the upgraders. They have some type of, I guess you want to call them like a debuff. I'll sort of explain all of that more in detail. I kind of just want to go over the surface of everything, and then I'm going to explain to you guys how to basically go ahead and achieve 100% efficiency, which is kind of what you want to aim for, but also not really. Sometimes you will be making a lot of money and not be at 100% efficiency, but for the most part, I would say that you do want to go ahead and aim for a 100% to be able to get the best results from your entire Tycoon. Now let's get into the fine little details here and how sort of everything works. So let's make our way back to the top so I can show you guys, starting with the dropper. Now, if you guys specifically notice the ones that I have over here to the left-hand side, these are the galvanic, I believe, or something like that. Let me see. Hold on. I can never find. Yeah, galvanic surges. So basically, these are like the big boys. I mean, at least I consider them the big boys. Personally, I haven't rolled anything better than these. So to me, these are pretty insane. And honestly, a great way to go ahead and kind of get started with how this all works. So when you put down this dropper, if you notice underneath it, it says wet vulnerable as well as fuel. Now, if you notice, both of these droppers are dropping onto this conveyor, which then goes through this upgrader called the Heavenly Ruins. If we hover over the Overclocked Golden Heavenly Ruins that I have here, it is a 1 in same 2.85 million drop chance. And in this case, it doesn't have a debuff. Instead, it has a buff because obviously this is an upgrader. It removes one random vulnerable from an individual aura that goes through this. That is the reason that both of the galvanic surges are on this side, because they obviously give a wet vulnerable. Meaning if I was to go ahead and click on the Heavenly Ruins, and for example, I added a Bloodstruck ritual that adds wet to it. Better yet, I can actually show you guys what this is going to look like. Let's go ahead and grab an Abyssal Chains, because this is obviously going to go ahead and add wet. And you're going to see basically what's going to happen here. So as soon as the droppers go ahead and drop the ore, instead of the ores kind of going through and making their way through the rest, you'll notice right here, boom, it just disappears. The reason for that is because the vulnerability that this dropper has, both of these, is that whenever it touches any upgrader that adds wet, it completely destroys the ore and it never makes it to the end. So if we actually go ahead and drop down to my first floor, you'll notice that I am no longer at 100% efficiency. I am now at 86% because unfortunately I have two droppers up top that are just not working. So to combat this, I obviously go ahead and switch this out for the Heavenly Ruins, because once it goes through, it will instantly remove the wet vulnerability. So right there, if we kind of zoom in here, I don't even know if I have it turned on. I might not have it turned on. Oh wait, no, it's not going to have any vulnerabilities because it actually goes through and clears it. So if we look at it here, let me wait till this one drops it and I'll zoom in so you guys can see it, because I believe wet is sort of like gray and it's going to be kind of fast, but let's see right here. So you see how it says wet vulnerable, but if we come to this side, now it says nothing. That's because it cleaned it. It no longer has that vulnerability, and it will continue on through the track all the way to the end. So I make the money from that individual ore. Now, Heavenly Ruins is not the only item that does this. I believe there's a couple of other ones. As a matter of fact, I think I have another different one, which is the aura. I could be wrong though. The aura might be just for fire. Let me see here. Yeah, this was just for fire. So I believe that the Heavenly Ruins is one of the more common ones that you can get. I have this sort of everywhere inside my entire Tycoon. It's probably not efficient to even have this many. But either way, now that I've gone ahead and changed it, you notice we're back at 100%. But yeah, wet is just one of many. There is a couple of other different ones that you can get. Some of them add fire, they add acid. And I'm sure you're probably thinking, what is the point of even having an upgrader that adds that, or even a dropper that adds that, when we can just basically drop a bunch of Heavenly Ruins and basically clean out the entire ore, so when it makes it to the end, it's fully clean. The problem with that is that if we make our way over here to the transmitter, you'll notice that some of these transmitters at the end, shrines, melters, whatever it is you want to call it, basically the item that you add at the very end, which collects all of your money. Some of these have multipliers that benefit from having fire or acidic or magnetic or any of the other different kind of like debuffs that are added, or I guess vulnerabilities. In my case, I get a 1.5 times for fire and acidic. So if you notice right before, I have a Gates of Calamity in overclocked and golden variant because it adds a fire to it. The problem is that you need to be very careful when you're adding fire, acid, or any of these other debuffs, because if you notice in parentheses right next to it, it'll tell you how long the ore will survive under those circumstances. In my case, I added Gates of Calamity at the end because it will have 4 seconds to travel to the very end, or to travel to somewhere where it removes the fire. In my case, I wanted to go ahead and reach the end with fire, so that way I get a 1.5 times multiplier. I'd also like to point out, because I am very proud of this, but my Void Shrine is by far the rarest item that I have. It is a 1 in 35.6 million drop chance, which is insane to me. I got it at 153,000 rolls, and I literally obtained this yesterday. So I'm very, very proud of this. Oh, dude, look at this. An error buff. So these buffs are also going to go ahead and spawn around the map. Sometimes you'll have people in your server that spawn server-sided drops. It'll sort of pop up top. You saw it at the very start of the video where it says assortments have dropped and stuff like that. You want to go ahead and make sure that you collect as many of these as you can, because you will need these in order to go ahead and unlock auras that can be located right here in the center of the map. You just talk to this guy right here and you can build all of your auras. You start off with the luck aura and then move your way over to the glitched aura, finally with the galaxy rapture being your final goal. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten very lucky with the event horizons or with the stellar nebulas. I've actually had like 5 of them spawn in the server that I'm in, but unfortunately I've been AFK every single time that they spawned, and my friends that are usually in here with me send me screenshots of me missing it. So yeah, it's a little depressing. Either way, getting completely sidetracked here, that is more or less the end goal of what you guys want to do in order to be able to effectively get 100% efficiency. You need to make sure that everything kind of flows correctly. The moment that you have any type of ore despawning or anything, it will affect your efficiency. And it's actually very, very simple to kind of know whether things are going really well. Obviously, you want to start at the very beginning and then just sort of follow the ores, kind of stay somewhere, pay attention, make sure that nothing is despawning. If something is despawning at that point, you need to go ahead, go into your settings, turn on show full ore tags, and then hover over each one of the ores so you can really get a general idea of what exactly is affecting you. Right here, I have adds fire vulnerability, but once it goes through here, it drops down and it goes right through a heavenly ruins, which then clears that fire vulnerability. But then it goes through a bloodstruck ritual, which gives it wet, aired, putrid fire acid, and then instantly after that it goes through a removes fire and acid, but then it adds wet, and then instantly after that I have something that adds fire again, but then it goes through the aurora tundra, which removes fire. It's like a never-ending system, but you just have to make it all work in order for you to be able to get 100%. Now, obviously, mine isn't the most optimized. I could be making so much more money, which I probably will as soon as I'm done recording this video. I think I'm going to go ahead and sort of redo the entire thing, because realistically, I should be getting more acidic stuff to drop in here. Currently, I don't believe there's any acidic items that are dropping in there. So realistically, I might need to remove this abyssal chain, maybe even get rid of it completely, since it is a 69 multiplier. And then we're going to have to add an acid pool somewhere around here. I don't even know if I have any available acid pools. I might not actually. See, this one here says destroys ores if fire, extra 2.5 times if acid, which is crazy, especially if we put this closer to the end so that way it goes straight into the entire end with the 2.5 multiplier and the 1.5 multiplier that I get from the ending. But then on top of that, it also adds magnetic and destroys 20% of ores. So it's obviously got its buffs and it's got its debuffs. Moonlight Temple over here, it destroys ores if acid vulnerable, so that's not going to be a good one for us. This one adds fuel, not really what we're looking for, So yeah, unfortunately, I don't think, oh, I do. I have an overclocked negative acid pool, which isn't really the best in the world, but when you take into consideration that it will be getting a 1.5 times multiplier, it kind of becomes a little bit decent. I'm gonna have to do kind of like the math here to see if it's even worth it. It might not be. But overall, what I really wanted to do was sort of introduce you guys to the game, give you a sort of quick little breakdown so you can jump into it and sort of prepare yourself. Because I'm not gonna lie, when I jumped in, like I said, I've been playing for about a week now. I was extremely confused, and I should probably go ahead and show you guys some of the layouts that my buddies have, because they've obviously been playing a lot longer. I'm currently at 253,000 rolls, but my buddy Avoided is actually at almost 500,000 rolls. I believe this one is Niloy's. So let's move over to Avoided so I can show you, but he has a pretty bad efficiency, actually, now that I'm looking at it. 30%. He's still earning an insane amount, and the reason for that is because he probably has a lot rarer items and a good setup on top for the droppers, which unfortunately I am slacking a little bit on the droppers. I don't know why. I have not been lucky enough with the droppers. Yeah, look at this right here, man. What is this? This is an overclocked golden? I can't even find the hitbox for it. Where's the hitbox? There we go. Yeah, this is an overclocked galvanic surge. Why does it look like... Don't I have an overclocked one? I don't even know. Either way, he's got some really good droppers here, most of which are over 500, except for this one over here. Now, Avoided, on the other hand, he's earning 142 UD with 100% efficiency, and I know that he's got some pretty insane droppers. Transmitter, he's slacking a little bit, 1 and 2.5 million, but for some reason, he hasn't been able to get really good drops on the transmitters. The droppers, though, he gets good ones all the time. I don't understand how. But yeah, basically over here, he's got a galvanic surge. Over here, he's got another galvanic surge, which this one I believe is just golden. On this side, he's got, I don't really know. The hitboxes are really weird. He's got a shadow veil negative. Next to that, a standard galvanic surge. and basically a overclocked golden flora obliterator, which is 900, and a golden one right next to that, which is another 962 ore value. So yeah, he's making the most amount of money because of the fact that he has really, really good droppers and actually some pretty decent upgraders as well. Definitely a lot better than mine. All of his are basically in the millions. Kind of insane, man. But yeah, now that I've disabled reduce lag, you guys will notice just how much ore is actually traveling through my entire system here. Once I go ahead and turn on reduce lag, it will go ahead and drop the ore count from like 270, 280 back down to like 30. But it doesn't change the amount of money that you're earning. It doesn't change anything. It just makes it so that your computer can actually survive. Either way, this video ended up being a little bit longer than I expected. But again, I just wanted to go ahead and give you guys a full breakdown, get an understanding of how this game works before we start uploading some more videos on it. I'm having a lot of fun with this game, man. I honestly am. Obviously, the hot topic right now is the fact that Jandel has gone ahead and purchased majority shares in this. So we're sort of waiting until Friday, which is the next update day, based on the group wall. That's what it says. So we'll get a real general idea on whether this is going to take a dusty trip kind of a pay to win route, or if this is just going to remain how it is and we're just going to get some really good content, which would be super good. Hopefully Jandel just goes ahead and brings over his dev team and it's kind of like just more hands on deck. Because I mean, obviously I don't know the details, but I would imagine that this game is very, very healthy as far as monetization goes. But I don't know, man. Let me know in the comments if you've been playing this game already. How far are you? How many rolls do you got? What is your best item? I'm curious. I will be reading the comments and replying back to you. Very high chance that if you guys are interested, I will also purchase a private server, pin it at the very top of the comments so you guys can go ahead and hang out with me. Maybe give me some tips and tricks. I'm always open to that. That's gonna do it for this video. Like always, I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.